What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you tuning in. We got to talk a little bit about the Cardinals and the season that is over and getting worse and now a little complicated, but starting to get possibly a little bit of clarity with Kyler Murray. They've shut him down now for the rest of the year, so that his foot's not getting any better. Strange, because even when he was originally put on the IR and there were questions if he was going to come back before they even did it, there was footage of him practicing and like moving around and he looked fine. And there's reports of him ramping up during practice and that he looked better. And they're wondering what they were doing. I mean, that was a big topic about this team wasn't going anywhere. Why bring him back? It was one of the biggest points I was having. Well, apparently they finally came to that conclusion that they're not doing anything. So now the question is, what happens with him next year? They still have another year left on that contract of guaranteed money and kind of stuck with him unless they want to cut him and move on. What's he worth on the open market? Could you trade him for anything? And bigger question for the Cardinals is, what do you do once he is out of the building? Because it does at this point look like this is the end of an era. It does look like Arizona is moving on from Kyler Murray, and I guess you could say it was kind of fun while it lasted. Didn't really produce anything, didn't really give them any really high moments, gave them a couple highlights, didn't really give them a lot of wins, didn't give them a lot of postseason success. Left the team in a position kind of where it was when he got it, where meddling towards the bottom of their division, hang around, don't really do much. So they look, for all intents and purposes, like the tank might be in full force. They had 9 guys on that IR report for today that didn't play. A lot of them. Some of them interesting decisions that looked more like business moves than anything else. And now it looks like there's the chance that Trey Benson doesn't get activated and he'd be done for the rest of the year as well. They do look like they're in full tank mode, able to do enough to lose the game today. So now you're in a position of, you're trying to lose games better that draft pick. You're still in the lottery, still in a chance at, or not the lottery, you're still in the top 10 right now. So you still have a chance at getting, a pretty good pick if you're going to hold on and continue to lose some games. Maybe you move up a little higher. Problem is, once again, it's not a great draft class for quarterbacks. So I don't know who it is that you'd be targeting that you'd want to go after. At the end of the day, it doesn't change the fact that the decision had to be made that they're moving on. So where does he go next? Where do the Cardinals go to next? And if you looked around the league, starting to look like they're not going to be the only team looking for a quarterback. Really rough what happened over there in Indianapolis. Looks like Daniel Jones is going to be done for the year. What will he be like if he comes back from another Achilles injury like this? Is Indianapolis going to start now looking for a quarterback? Probably, I guess. Going to be other teams. Maybe that's where Kyler can go. Maybe. So there's going to be other teams that are going to be in the market looking for a quarterback. Not a great draft class. I still think the best case scenario for them, what they should do is they should go into next season and have Jacoby Brissett be the guy and just try and maybe be a little bit entertaining for the first part of the season. At a certain point, you start really tanking and you use that draft pick to go get your quarterback coming out of next year's draft class, which is supposed to be very good. Use this year's pick either to move back and try and get quite a few linemen. That's the biggest need for this team. Or you use it to just draft it. There's one that you really love that you want to get in that 10 spot that you can just plug in for 5-8 years that you're going to be set with. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But it's not the sexiest pick at that spot, but they've been avoiding going to drafting towards, the offensive line for a while. And it shows. They need a lot of help there. So The benefit is they've hit on a few pieces. It does look like in the moments in the games that Walter Nolan has played that he's going to be a valuable piece for him. We've seen flashes out of Marvin Harrison Jr., other times where it drives you crazy. I feel like a lot of that is mental, but he has shown you that when he is right, he can be a wide receiver fringe one, definitely a two, but he can be a solid piece in your wide receiver room. They do need some help there. There's just a lot of holes on this roster. I think they should try and get as high a draft pick as they can get and then trade back, try and fill some roster spots, have a year where you have a bridge quarterback where you're really not trying to do too much. And then if you can get yourself into a position where you can get a good draft pick for that year after, that's what you got to do. It's not great trying to sell a fan base on essentially a year and a half plan, a 2-year plan before you can really see it coming into fruition. But that's where they are. I mean, it's an unfortunate event that there's not anyone coming out that you really look at and you say that guy is a franchise quarterback. Now, we originally thought that there was going to be a few of them. Maybe that's going to be the case again after next college football season. These guys that we think are going to develop are the guys that look solid, that can come out. Maybe after another year, they kind of come back on down to earth, or they just don't develop. Arch Manning was supposed to be maybe the greatest prospect in forever, and he looked really rough this year. But the era of Kyler Murray and the Cardinals is over. That is the biggest takeaway from this week. Where does he go? Can they trade him? Do they just cut him? There's a lot of avenues that now basically they're going to have to explore, but they have stepped through that door, is what it looks like. And it does look like they have decided, let's tank. Tough pill to swallow, but it's the right move. It's the right move. It's what they got to do at this point. If they can still, that's why I actually like Brissett, because at least he is entertaining and he's got a little Jameis Winston in him, where he slings it, he's fun. You can still go out there and watch some football games and be entertained and kind of into it. But he's not good enough that you're going to be winning a lot of games. And so you're still going to be able to lose and stay in that position to have a good pick. It's kind of the happy medium right now. Be entertaining but lose until you can get the guy that can win for you. It's not easy. Don't put that on a poster anytime soon. It's not easy to sell it to people, but that is, I think, the best case scenario right now for this franchise. We'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, they're in a position right now where they're in a top 10 pick. Still got some games left. Still got to try and find a way to rack up the losses like they are. And maybe, Indiana's quarterback's pretty solid. There's a couple guys coming out that maybe that's it. That's the guy that you want to go after. I'm going to do a deep dive here in a couple of days, I think, on this quarterback class and see if there's anyone that I think is worth taking a flyer. You'd hate to use a first-round pick on a guy that you're not in love with. And there's no one so far at the top that looks like I'd be in love with. So, tough spot for the Cardinals. It does now look like they're basically 2 years away before they can kind of really get this thing moving again. But the reboot starts now, the rebuild. They have some good pieces. Got to find the most important one, though. And it's not Kyler Murray. Let me know what you guys think, because there is still the fan base that thinks maybe they should keep him and stay here and kind of build off of that. I'm not part of that, but he is better than some guys. So if you think that he is and still should be their guy, let me know. And more importantly, why you think he should be the guy moving forward next year and should still have that shot. Maybe they play one more year with him and play out the end of that contract and then just let him walk. Maybe that's the best case scenario. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, because I'm actually genuinely curious where Cardinals fans kind of are on him and whether it's better having a quarterback that maybe leaves you disappointed, but can at least get you excited versus having a guy that you're just, you know what's going to happen if you trot out Jacoby Brissett out there, or if you draft some guy in the 5th round and he's your starter. I don't know. I think I'd rather, though, be awful with the opportunity of getting the guy that we need to be good down the road. But what do you guys think?